Hello everyone and good morning. I am Talon from the Airsoft Headquarters, and if you are new to this channel because of the current quarantine from COVID-19, then welcome. However, if you are one of my previous watchers, you will recognize the background is going to be a little bit different. For those of you who do not know, I currently have a bad background with FedEx. Not really a huge fan of them or their choice of delivery services. So I am currently up here in my front store area instead of in back by my studio because I am waiting for a FedEx delivery. Now it is currently 11:05. I was here at 10:20 this morning, and our store opens at noon, so 12 on the dot. FedEx has a very bad history of trying to deliver before we actually open, so knowing that they're trying to deliver today, I am here early, and so far they have not shown their face yet, but hey, that's why I'm doing this video, so I have a little bit of time to kill. But today we're going to be going over some other high-end options besides the Avalons. Now if you guys, again, are previous watchers of the channel, you do know that myself and Brady are huge fans of the Avalon series, especially if you come into our store, or we recommend the Avalons the most over all other type of rifle brands or setups. However, today I'm going to be going over something that is going to be fairly comparable to one of the Avalon series. Now these are going to be a little bit more expensive, so the Avalon is going to have the edge on this series as far as price point, and the series that we're going to talk about today is going to be the G&G G2 Gearbox series. Now if you guys are familiar with airsoft rifles, you will recognize that those rifles are sitting right here behind me. We're going to be talking about these four right here. There is one other rifle that I do not have, and that is going to be the SR15, which, again, I'm just not going to have currently at this moment. Well, actually, before I talk about the rifle, we might as well talk about the G2 gearbox. Now, the G2 gearbox is going to be G&G's special designed gearbox, very similar to how the Avalon is specific. The Avalon gearbox is specific to the Avalon series. The G2 gearbox is going to be specific to the G2 series. Now what's really unique about the G2 gearbox is it's going to come with a rotary hop-up similar to the Avalons. It uses a electric trigger compared to either a micro switch type of trigger or regular trigger contacts, which are just pieces of copper that are complete in a circuit. So the electric trigger is going to be much more electronic, and it is going to have the MOSFET system on the trigger as well as on the board and back in the stock where the battery goes. Now with the hop-up, while it's also rotary, it is going to have extra reinforcement, so it is going to have a little bit more longevity to it. So if you do slap your magazines into the receiver, the hop-up is not going to break on you. However, magazines will. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. It is going to have a double O-ring nozzle and cylinder head, which is going to be ideal for good compression or air compression from the cylinder into the hop-up unit for best efficiency, making sure you have the most amount of air following that BB outside of that barrel. What is advertised with the G2 gearbox system is going to be a quick change spring system. Now, do not be confused, this is not a true quick change spring system. With a true quick change spring system, you would be able to remove the stock in some sort of fashion and get access to your spring without having to disassemble the rifle any further. That is not true for the G2 series. You will have to disassemble the gearbox away from the lower receiver in order to get to that spring. Now, that will save you any sort of time or effort to disassemble the gearbox, which is one of the more complicated pieces of an airsoft rifle. So if you do not know what you are doing as far as disassembly for the gearbox away from the receiver, take it to a trained technician who does know what they are doing. Same thing with the Avalons. They have quick change, but they are not a true quick change. There are other rifles that are on the market that are going to be a true quick change. Some of those I'm going to have, but that is going to be another video. With the G2 series, there is going to be an empty magazine detection or a no magazine detection system, meaning if the magazine is empty out of BBs, the rifle is not going to dry fire. So you will have just the continuous click of the trigger making contact, but not actually firing. Same thing if the magazine is outside of the receiver, you can pull the trigger, it is not going to dry fire. And that is just going to allow longevity of the rifle. When you do dry fire your rifle, it does create even more wear and tear. That's why we don't really suggest doing it, but in some cases you can do it. It's not going to kill the gearbox, but it does create a little bit of harm to it. With the G2 gearboxes as well, with that electric trigger, you can program full auto. Now, I should say all of these are going to be coming with safe, and in this case, with the SR25, just semi. This is going to be a true designated marksman rifle type of setup. Does not have the option to do full auto and cannot go into full auto. So this is going to allow you to go to larger events or even walk on fields that allow a higher velocity for DMR rifles. So you can crank this up to 450, 500, whatever the field or event will allow. Versus everything else that I currently have for the G2 gearbox system, it does have a full auto selection, so safe, semi, full auto. That full auto can be changed to a 3-round burst or a 5-round burst, which is pretty unique as far as burst systems go. With this MOSFET that is back in the stock, it does have a low power warning for the battery, and it will shut off any sort of firing systems just to help with that battery and prevent jamming within the gearbox. The gearbox also has a jamming detection system, so anything is out of alignment, it will start setting off alarms in the MOSFET back here inside of the stock and prevent any sort of future firing, so you cannot mess it up any further. And that is really what is most unique about the G2 gearbox designs. Now, the G2 gearbox is currently in a couple different rifle designs. The SR25, like I have here in my hands, the SR30, the SR15, which is currently not available, to me at least, it's just not present. The G2H, which is going to be a 308 style magazine, and the TR16 MBR 5.56 G2. Now, the G2 and the G2H are the same exact gearbox. The H stands for the elongated model for the extended, larger magazine styles, such as the SR25 and the 308 that I have right here. So, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to start down here at the very bottom. Even though I did grab the SR25, I'm just going to grab the SR30 instead. Tease you guys a little bit. Now, the SR30 is going to be the M4-esque style of rifle. This is going to be the Knights Armament license. So you have the Knights Armament license up here on the left side of the receiver, as well as having some license over on the right side of the receiver. I can do left or rights. It's not Monday, but it feels like it to me. So with this SR30, it is going to have the cool little license on here, a 300 blackout, which I think is a pretty cool touch, although not necessary because you can take any M4 magazine and stick it inside of there without any sort of issue. With the G2 gearbox, however, this is going to have its own proprietary mid-cap. This is one of the few rifles that is going to be coming with a mid-cap inside of the box once you buy it. When you insert it inside there, you will need to give it a tap. Out of the box, it is going to be a little tight, but pull it back out, and you can see on the bottom here is going to be a follower that is going to allow all the BBs from the magazine to feed up into the hop-up unit, so you can fire every shot from the magazine and be completely empty. One of the tricks about these guys is you do have to push the follower back in. If you have the follower sitting loosey-goosey, like it is right there, see how it likes to sit all the way forward or all the way back. If you try to jam this into the receiver, try to feed it into the hop-up, this follower will break, and that will break your magazine, and you have to get a whole new one if you want that empty magazine detection system. Otherwise, this is going to work with any sort of M4 magazine, like I showed you right here. Like with the PTS one, it did slide in pretty easily. I didn't need to slap the very bottom, but it's out of habit. It does sit a little bit looser than the actual G&G mid-cap that it comes with. The PTS EPMs do not come with a follower, so you don't need to worry about that. And of course, the new and the hot EPM ones fit a little bit better than the EPMs, but they do have still more wobble than the stock G&G ones. Now with the SR30, this is going to be completely ambidextrous, left-hand operation as well as or I should say right-hand operation and left-hand operation for that selector switch. Right-hand magazine release, right-hand bolt release, and then left-hand magazine release, and then left-hand bolt release. Really, this is going to be your left-hand bolt release if you were to hit it like this. However, if you are left-handed, you can just reach your finger up from the magazine release, bolt release, back to the trigger really easily. Same with right-hand magazine release, bolt release. I should say that the bolt also is, or the bolt here is retained, so you do have that, I guess, bolt catch system, so then you can adjust your hop up on the fly or on the field without having to hold it back, make those adjustments, take a shot, pull, make adjustments, take the shot. Instead you can have the bolt catch backwards, fire, make those small adjustments as you go, and then when you're done, bolt release, bolt cover up, and then you are good to go. All of these, except for the 308, are going to be coming with a M-LOK rail system. The 308 is the only one of the series that is going to be coming with key mod. For whatever reason, I suspect that G&G is going to be changing that out pretty quickly if they already have not. And that is really as far as it goes with the SR30. You do have some quick detached sling points up on the back of the receiver as well as up here on the rail system. Iron sights, I mean, what can I say? They're going to be kind of a Mark 18 type of clone, a Knights Armament style with that long post here and the long front up there. No one really uses iron sights. They always slap an optic on there, so in my opinion it doesn't really matter what iron sights it comes with, if it comes with any. If you're going to throw an optic on there, does it really matter? Here we have the TR16 MBR 556. Again, takes M4 magazine. The exact same magazine that is coming with the SR30 in the box is going to be coming with the MBR 556. Slap it in there, give a tap up there just to make sure it all works. And again, it's pretty tight, but you can drop that out. Again, pretty tight to put an EPM1 or an EPM. That slid in there really easy. Had no need to smack the bottom of it, and with a little bit of wiggle, it does drop free. EPM1 slid in really easily. That one actually does drop free without having to do a little bit of wiggle. This is almost going to be the exact same as far as the SR30, but it does have the longer rail system, longer barrel system, so you do have a little bit more consistency at a greater distances. Checking that bolt system does hold back again. You do not have the ambi bolt release, so you do have to go on the left side here in order to hit that forward. Otherwise, ambidextrous magazine release, ambidextrous fire control or selector switch, however you want to call it. This is the first one that's going to be coming with the more classical G&G enhanced grips right there. I personally am not a huge fan. While they are fairly comfortable, I personally just prefer the standard type of grip. Otherwise, one of the PTS enhanced with that same type of texturing back here, or beaver tail back here. See if my camera can possibly focus on that. But we do have the MOSFET here, a more advanced fuse system here compared to the traditional glass ones, which are still coming on some of the older style of G&Gs. These are much easier to get a hold of. Out of the box, it is coming with an adapter. All of these are coming with adapters from Dean's or a Tamiya plug. In my professional opinion, stick with Dean's. Dean's is going to offer way less resistance and is going to give you a little bit snappier of a trigger response. Charging handle, while we are doing comparisons, are going to be a more skeletonized, a little bit more competitive rifle type of look, which I think is really, really cool. The ambi does work on here. So when I pull up on one side or the other, they both lift up, which in my opinion is really, really unique. So these are going to have your traditional sling mounts up front here, nothing as far as quick detach rails or sling mounts on the front of the rail system anywhere or on the back here. So that is the MBR 556. Something I do want to make a comparison of is comparing the rail system to the 308 to the 556, or from the 308 to the 556. I'm going to correct myself right there. The 308 that I am showing you does have this cut along the very front of the rail system, versus the 556 is going to be a flat face. You can get either rail cut in either magazine type of style. So you can get the same curve here of the rail for the 556. Likewise, you can get the flat face rail system for the 308 rifle, just so we're clear on that. Now, these top two are going to be the 308 magazine replica type of rifles, meaning these are going to be more traditional as far as designated marksman rifle. The MBR 308 is going to be an exception because it does have a full auto selection. And what is unique is that this can go from safe, semi, and full auto within a 90-degree rotation of the trigger instead of the 180. At the 45-degree here is going to be your single fire or your semi-auto. All the way flat at 0 degrees is safe, and up at 90 is your full auto. I said that in a weird order. I hope you will forgive me. Now, I do not rightfully know if the full auto can be selected just to semi-automatic on this specific one. Just looking over as far as G&G's website, that is not something that they made clear, but I think it is something that should be possible. And actually, since I have the box right here for the 308, I'm going to go ahead and look at that. So after reading through the manual, it does not look like you have the option to select that full auto into semi-auto only. So you will have to run it on full auto, 3-round burst, or 5-round burst option. So running it as a true designated marksman rifle is not an option. Something that I do want to make clear before we continue, just looking through the manual here, is that it does say to use silicone oil, or whether they use Teflon oil. Yeah, silicone oil or Teflon oil in order to clean your inner barrel. They also suggest spraying some down into the hop-up chamber. Do not do that, okay? When you put oil onto a rubber bucking that is going to be giving the BB the backspin, that oil creates a slippery surface and you will not get consistent backspin, and you will also not get consistent firing as you shoot it. So if you are going to clean the inner barrel, use a completely dry paper towel. Otherwise, you will have to do some disassembly of the inner barrel away from the hop-up in order to use any sort of oil or cleaning agent to clean out that inner barrel. Just so you guys know, because players have done that, and then I have to correct them. So just for your safety, for your sake, do not use oil. Continuing on, we talked about the selector switch. With the ambi selectors here, they are going to be much more enhanced compared to the 556 or the SR30 here. So the bolt release on the left hand side is going to be much more pronounced. The magazine release is going to be fairly standard. Same with over here. The right hand magazine release is way enhanced. Same with the bolt release over here. Making sure that the bolt does catch, and that actually was very, very smooth. Did not have an awkward clunk to it, which was super nice. Let's do that again. Sweet. Moving backwards from there, everything is completely the same as far as the grip, the stock. A little different as far as the sling mounts here on the left side or the right side. And your standard iron sights coming from G&G. Again, these are going to be flipped down. Who is using iron sights anymore? I have no idea. Everyone upgrades to an optic of some sort. But to make it abundantly clear, 308. Now compared to a 5.56, the 308 magazine, I'll just grab the G&G one for simplicity's sake. Hold them up side by side, so I'm holding them in place up front here. There is a noticeable difference as far as the volume of space that 308 magazine takes up compared to the 5.56. So, unless someone is 3D printing a adapter of some sort, and I don't think that you will be able to have someone print one, parts are going to be fairly specific as far as dimension, but you will probably need a little spacer up here in front of the inside of the mag well in order to make M4 magazines work with the 308. However, that is going to be a lot of steps, a lot of work on someone's end, so I do not suggest, going through the hassle of converting your mag well to take M4 magazines. Just do it super simple, save the headache, and just run the 308 magazines that, again, have the follower in there. That actually went in pretty smoothly. Did not need to smack it, but again, I did out of habit. As far as the magazine drop, you will need to pull it out. Again, there's that follower in order to feed every single BB. I like the look of the 308 magazine, at least the civilian market 308 magazine compared to the SR25 type of magazine. For discussion's sake, let's go ahead and pop this follower in and see if the SR25 mag will fit, and it does. So it fits in there really snugly. So if you have a G&G SR25 of the G2 gearbox specific model, you can use the magazines if you did want to go to the TR16 308. And that we have that. And of course, back to the rifle that I was holding originally, the Knights Armament licensed SR25. So we have Knights Armament trades over here as well. It's kind of like a standard SR25. This is the one that is going to be 308 style and is going to have just safe and semi, not going to have a full auto selection, so you have only that 90-degree rotation to go from safe to semi. In fact, it does not say semi, it says fire, because it should be obvious it is going to be a single fire or semi-automatic operation only. Now, this rail system and the back of the receiver here is going to be very similar to the SR30 as far as the M-LOK design, the quick detach sling mounts here and here. It is going to be a one-side bolt. It's going to be a one-side charging handle operation, so you will have to use this side in order to pull back, pull down, and did it catch? It did catch. Very, very smooth. Do it one more time. Very nice. Again, ambidextrous controls as far as the bolt release, magazine release. Everything is completely ambidextrous for these rifles here. And again, this is going to have the 308 style of magazine. It is a flat face rail system up here. And it is going to be using the more traditional of iron sights compared to the SR30, which is going to have the more classical iron sight systems. So again, flip down. Who is using iron sights anymore, especially for a designated marksman rifle type of setup? But for display purposes, we do put them all up. So as you can see here, we do have that sign on there. Do not remove the magazine because there is a follower on there. However, because I know that there's a follower, I do have clearance in order to remove the magazine. Brady, don't yell at me. So we have that. As far as price points, I did mention that the SR30 is going to be $370. The other three models, the MBR 556, the MBR 308, and the SR25 are going to be sitting at the $404 range. Again, pretty comparative to the Avalon series. The Avalon Mark 18 was sitting at $400, so for $404, I don't know why G&G requires us to have the extra $4 for map pricing, but they do. Now, if you guys are super curious, because I have the box out, this is the MBR 308 box, but all of the G2 gearboxes are going to have, all of the G2 series are going to have the same similar color of box, which is going to be this bronzy goldish type of color. So if anyone's looking for this box, it is going to be uniquely colored for the G2 series. Opening up the box, now you do have a little bit more old school as far as a speed loader, magazine, or not the magazine, the manual, which I did pull out in order to double check. You know, that semi-auto lock system, a product catalog, and jamming rod. And G&G does this really unique system where they use the same packaging for all their rifles. That is why you have an AK cutout here for, you know, a 308 magazine for whatever reason, and they have these pockets here for any sort of accessories that are going to be coming with any other specific type of rifle. For the SR3 or for the MBR 308, there's nothing that is going to be coming inside of these packages, just so you all are aware. And that is really it. If you guys do have any further questions, go ahead and put them down in the comments section below, or stop into the store. Actually, don't stop into the store. We're in a 2-week lockdown, so just go ahead and put them down in the comments section. If you guys did stay until the very end here, go ahead and subscribe for me. Like, tell me I'm doing a good job, or that I look pretty down in the comments section. I would very much like to see a overall positive reaction from this video, as well as good traffic, you know, just to tell my bosses that, hey, we are doing very well with these video series that I am putting out. It's not really a series, I'm just putting videos out. But hey, that is all that I have for you today. With the quarantine, I will be putting out more, I will be trying to put out more videos throughout the week, so you guys will have some more content in order to, you know, not stay completely bored. So, without further ado, I am still going to wait on FedEx. What time is it right now? 11:36. Wow, I talked for a good while. So, we are opening in 24 minutes. Brady or Carl may be stopping by before then. Anyway, you guys, please take care. Please be safe, as well as be healthy, and I will see you guys later on this week. Take care. Bye.